Welcome to my video lecture based on Electrical Machine 2, paper code ECEE 501. Today we will start with our module of three-phase induction motor. This is our second topic related to three-phase induction motor. In my last lecture we have started with the introduction to three-phase induction motor. So, myself Rumrum Banerjee, Assistant Professor of Electrical Engineering Department, Dr. Sudhir Chandrasoor Institute of Technology and Sports Complex. This institute is previously known as Dr. Sudhir Chandrasoor Degree Engineering College, and this institute is under JIS Group. So let us start with our second lecture based on three-phase induction motor. And in my previous lecture we have learned that three-phase induction motor is very helpful, and it is very important in case of electrical machines, and it is mostly used in case of AC motors. So let us start with three-phase induction motor introduction part. So, principle of operation of three-phase induction motor, how that motor is operated, that is the most important part to understand in case of any motor, that how it is basically operated. The name itself indicates that this principle of this motor is based on induction. For sake of simplicity, let us consider one conductor is acting. Let this conductor be subject to rotating magnetic field produced when a three-phase supply is connected to the three-phase winding of the stator. Let the rotation of the magnetic field be clockwise. A magnetic field moving clockwise has the same effect as a conductor moving anti-clockwise in the stationary field. By Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, a voltage will be induced in the conductor. Since the rotor circuit is complete, either through the end rings or an external resistance, the induced voltage causes a current to flow in the rotor conductor. By right-hand rule, we can determine the direction of induced current in the conductor. Since the magnetic field is rotating clockwise and the conductor is stationary, we can assume that the conductor is in motion in the anti-clockwise direction with respect to the magnetic field. By right-hand rule, the direction of induced current is downwards, and the current in the rotor conductor produces its own magnetic field. We know that when a conductor carrying current is put in a magnetic field, a force is produced on it. Thus, a force is produced on the rotor conductor. The direction of this force can be found by left-hand rule. It is seen that the force acting on the conductor is in the same direction as the direction of the rotating magnetic field. Since the rotor conductor is in a slot on the circumference of the rotor, this force acts in the tangential direction to the rotor and develops a torque on the rotor. Similar torques are produced on all the rotor conductors. Since the rotor is free to move, it starts rotating in the same direction as the rotating magnetic field. Thus, a three-phase induction motor is self-starting. Since the operation of this motor depends upon the induced voltage in the rotor conductor, it is called induction motor. That means the main important part is the motor is based on the principle of Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. We are giving supply to the stator magnetic field, and that supply is three-phase in nature. So, we know that three-phase supply can create a rotating magnetic field, and that magnetic field is rotating. So when the magnetic field is rotating, then that rotating magnetic field will cut the rotor conductors, and due to that cutting, a flux cutting will be there in the rotor conductors, and EMF will be produced in the rotor conductors. And as the circuit is closed by end rings, so there will be flowing of current, and due to this current flowing, another magnetic field will be created in the rotor side, and due to the action of these two magnetic fields, the rotor will start rotating. So that is the principle of operation, and that's why the motor is self-starting. It does not require any kind of external means to start. So this motor is self-starting, and also the motor is induction motor. Now sleep. Induction motor rotors always rotate at speed less than synchronous speed. Basically, the magnetic field speed is known as synchronous speed, and the motor speed is always less than that. So induction motor rotor speed is always less than synchronous speed. The difference between the synchronous speed and rotor speed is known as slip. So percentage slip will be ns minus n by ns into 100, where ns is the synchronous speed, n is the actual rotor speed, and slip speed is ns minus n. In some books it is written in place of n, it is written nr. So nr will indicate the rotor speed. Basically this n is rotor speed. Okay. So you can write ns minus nr by ns into 100 is the percentage of slip. Now induction motor rotor can be two type. That part I have discussed in my last class. One is squirrel cage type, another one is slip ring type or wound rotor type. Squirrel cage rotors are basically, these are the rotor bars, and they are made of copper, and these rotor bars are slightly skewed. That means they are not just straight lines, they are slightly parallel with each other. That means they are parallel, not straight. And skewing effect will reduce two problems of induction motor. One is magnetic humming or the magnetic locking tendency. Another one is it is reduce the speed. It reduce the noise. That means induction motor have two advantage when it is skewed rotor bar. It can create uniform torque, noise is reduced, and locking tendency of the motor is reduced. So this is the pictorial diagram of squirrel cage type induction motor. This is squirrel cage rotor. These are the laminated core, and these are the copper bars, and this is the metal end ring. Okay. Now this one is the wound rotor or slip ring type rotor. Here these are the three slip rings are there. These are the slip rings. In these three slip rings, additional resistance can be connected here, and this is the rotor coils. And this is the laminated core. Now we are going to slip ring. This is the arrangement of slip ring elaborately shown. These are the three slip rings. This is looking like rings, so this is known as slip rings. In these slip rings we can connect additional resistances like this. This is the arrangement of slip ring. Now let us take the relationship between frequency of rotor voltage and current. The frequency of current and voltage in the stator must be the same as the supply frequency is given by F equals to P ns by 120. The frequency in the rotor winding is variable and depends on the difference between the synchronous speed and the rotor speed. Hence, the rotor frequency depends upon the speed. So, the rotor frequency is given by Fr equals to P ns minus Nr by 120. This is basically rotor frequency, and it is dependent on slip speed. Now we are dividing these two equations, 4.7.1 and 4.7.2. We are dividing 4.7.2 by 4.7.1. We are getting that Fr by F equals to Ns minus Nr by Ns, and we know that this is basically slip S. So the equation becomes Fr equals to S into F. That means rotor current frequency is equal to per unit slip into supply frequency. When the rotor is stationary, then Nr equals to 0 and slip becomes equal to 1. So, at that case, Fr equals to F. That means rotor frequency becomes equal to stator frequency. When the rotor is driven by mechanical prime mover at synchronous speed ns, then S equals to 0 and Fr equals to also 0. Therefore, frequency of the rotor current varies from Fr equals to F at standstill, S equals to 1 to Fr equals to 0 at synchronous speed S equals to 0. In other further discussion, we can take F equals to F1 and Fr equals to F2. So, F2 equals to S into F1. So, definitely rotor frequency and stator frequency is related with slip of induction motor. Now, we will do some numerical problem based on this relationship of slip and frequency. The frequency of the EMF in the stator of a 4-pole induction motor is 50 Hz and that in the rotor is 1.5 Hz. What is the slip and at what speed is the motor running? So, in this problem, frequency of supply is given, that is 50 Hz, and rotor frequency is also given, that is 1.5 Hz. And we know that Fr equals to S into Fs. So, this is 1.5 and this one is 50. So, we are getting that S equals to F2 by F1, that means F2 is 1.5 rotor frequency and F is the stator frequency. So, we are getting that the value of slip is 0.03 per unit or 3%. Now, we have to calculate at what speed the motor is running. So, it will be F1 equals to P into Ns divided by 120. So, it will be Ns equals to 120 F1 by P. So, Ns will be 1500 rpm and the speed of the motor will be N into 1 minus S into Ns, that is 1455 rpm. So, that will be our rotor speed, 1455. This will be our rotor speed and that is our answer. So, we are getting two answers here. One is what is the value of slip, that is 3%, and another answer is that our rotor speed is 1455. Now, another problem we are considering. A 3-phase 6-pole 50 Hz induction motor has a slip of 1% at no load and 3% at full load. Determine A. synchronous speed, B. no load speed, C. full load speed, D. frequency of the rotor current at standstill, and E. frequency of the rotor current at full load. That means in this problem the number of pole is 6, 50 Hz is the supply frequency, sleep at no load condition is 1% and sleep at full load condition is 3%. That means in these both cases our rotor speed is varied, so the sleep percentage is also changed. Now we have to determine that synchronous speed, then no load speed, then full load speed, then frequency at standstill, and then frequency of the rotor current at full load. So our first solution, we have to determine the synchronous speed. We know the formula C of synchronous speed, that is 120 F by P. So the value of P is given 50 Hz and F is given 50 Hz and P is 6. So our synchronous speed is 1000 RPM we are getting. Now second question is no load speed. At no load our slip is 1%. So definitely we will use the formula of NR, that is NR equals to 1 minus S into NS. So we have put the value of NS here and the value of S in case of no load, and we are getting that at no load speed is 990 RPM. Now at full load definitely the slip value will be changed, that is 3%, but the synchronous speed is remaining same. Putting this value we are getting that at full load the speed is 970 RPM. That means we can see that from no load to full load, at no load definitely speed is higher, because when the load increases definitely the speed will decrease. Next part is frequency of rotor at standstill. We know that at standstill the value of slip is 1. So the rotor frequency will be F2 equals to F, that means 50 Hz. Okay. Next thing is frequency at rotor current at full load. Again at full load our slip value is changed to 0.03 per unit. So the value of frequency at full load will be also changed, that is 50 into 0.03, that means 1.5 Hz. So these are the all 5 questions I have answered here. This is very simple problem but very important. Related to this problem, small problems and MCQ related problems also comes using based on this simple formulas. Remember, for 3-phase induction motor slip value is Ns minus Nr by Ns and Fr equals to S into F. You have to remember these two for throughout your career. So up to that is for today, and in my next lecture we will again continue about 3-phase induction motor, and we will do short part. We will cover starting of 3-phase induction motor, we will cover the speed control of 3-phase induction motor and torque slip characteristics, torque speed characteristics, equivalent circuit. Those parts we will cover in our next lectures. So I have taken this problems from the book of Asfa Kushen Electrical Machines, and other parts you can also follow the book of Nagrat Kothari of electrical machines, or you can also go through the book of Abhijit Chakraborty and Sudipta Nath of McGraw Hill publication book of electrical machines. In these all books you will get lots of numerical problems solved, and definitely go through these problems. Basically machine syllabus or machine subject is like that, you have to cover theory part as well as numerical part. So definitely I will prefer that you will like this machine topic and machine chapter, machine for electrical engineering students. And today I will finish my lecture here. Thank you all for listening my lecture.